Karibu sana. Welcome viewers. This is Politics Today. Hapa tunachapa siasa. So much has happened over the week. Hey, so much has happened. And, well, let us just begin this show. Our sign language interpreter is Gideon Minor. And we have a guest. Let him introduce himself. Hi. Hi.
Don't
Jambo.
need to be louder.
Yes. Karibu.
Asante.
Yes. What's your name, sir?
I am Brian Madenge. I'm Comrade Brian Madenge.
Comrade Brian Madenge. Why
Yeah.
comrade?
Because that is the title for... It's not really a title. It's an identity.
An identity.
Yeah, for what you do
Okay.
and what you want the community to look like. What you
That,
want the
by
society.
the way, are you in the social justice manenos?
Yes, I am Brian. I am from the Social Justice Centers. I'm from the Gedhorai Social Justice Center. And I'm also the General Secretary of the Young Communists League.
Now, that social justice center, to some extent, was supported by one Mishere Mugo, right?
Yeah.
To some extent, the late, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Kindly, as a youth, nataka sauti hapa, sawa?
Ndio hivyo.
Wapi
umesema tunachapa siasa.
Aya, hapa tunachapa siasa.
Ndio.
Let us talk about bitter sugar.
Bitter sugar.
Bitter sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar needs to be sweet, man.
That's true.
Why is the sugar bitter? There is something about sugar in this country. As in, we sim dosi as a youth. Umeshika sukari, by the way.
Sukari siku hizi inakuja hapo, kwanza una deal na priorities alafu unaenda sukari.
Wachana sasa na sukari ya duka. Okay, wewe unaongelelea ya duka. You are talking about shop sugar. Okay, fine. Endelea. So unanunua vitu zingine ndio ununue sukari.
Yeah, I thought that was the sugar you were speaking about.
Yeah, definitely. Kwani which other sugar?
Yeah.
That sugar that you buy at the shop.
Yeah.
How much is sugar now? Half kg. Wacha nisikupeleke kwa nini? Do you buy 100 bob like me? Half kg.
You buy a half kg for 100 bob.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's 100 bob or a little bit slight, a slight increase or maybe decrease. To 100 bob.
Okay. That no. You are you talking of half kg like me? Half kg ni so. You are talking about 1 kg.
I'm talking about 1 kg. It's serious.
1 kg is 200 bob.
No, 1 kg is maybe around 120, 130.
1 kg? No,
the half kg.
half kg.
Yeah,
Come on.
Half kg.
Yes.
These days I'm telling you, people are now buying the essentials and then buying sugar.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a commodity that we produce in our country. It's
right.
Yeah, it's really frustrating that we have sugar farmers. We have companies that are state owned, but we cannot resonate with the prices that come from the production and the prices that we come and buy them from in the supermarkets and the shops.
By the are you aware that in Kenya, kama hujashika sugar, you are not rich? Sugar. Do you know that sugar is making billionaires in Kenya?
Yeah, there have been a recent situation that we have seen billionaires rise of.
Yes.
And it's not now. We have seen in maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes.
We've seen sugar scandals. Not even 5 years ago. Before then, we saw even sugar scandals before then.
Yeah.
So sugar is really a commodity that, but it's not a surprise because sugar is just one of the elements that build up the Kenyan economy.
Do you know? Have you heard of one Just Want Rai?
Just One Rai.
Yes.
Yeah,
have you heard of
Just One
name?
Rai? Yeah, he has been making friends recently in the headlines.
So much stories about one Just Want Rai.
Yeah.
Isn't it unfair to blame all the sugar troubles on one guy? Because seriously, you were not there in 1992. I, by the grace of God, was there in the year 1992.
Yeah.
And I can tell you for a fact, sugar ilikosekana Western. Yeah. Sugar ilikosekana Western. There was no sugar in Western Kenya. And we had elections. Yes. And there was smuggling of sugar into Kenya.
Yeah.
Sugar zilitoka nje. Then people started rumoring around that sugar was being used to finance the elections. You know, in this country, ukishika gunia ya sukari, umeshika pesa. Just one, nikikupea bag ya sugar, say you can convert it to money very easily.
That's true.
Yeah. So isn't it unfair, Brian Madenge, to put all the sugar troubles in Kenya on just one tribe? What's your opinion?
Simba.
Yes, sir.
I think that the from your question, I could tell a number of things.
Right.
One is yes, we could not put all our troubles on sugar against one person.
Yeah.
We should send a lot of questions of what the president has addressed in the previous times, in the recent times. But sugar, just like coffee, just like the other minerals, we had a while ago oil, somewhere in Takwel.
You are bringing out the Takwel issue. You're reminding me
So
of
we
issues
have-
as a man.
Yes, we have these things that have been there time and again.
By the way, there was
So-
a time. Anyway, just go on.
And now this Rai,
Yes.
this same guy that now we are dealing with, we there was a chance to deal with him some 4 or 5 years ago when there was a scandal about mercury. So he's not part about mercury sugar and stuff.
Mercury.
So he's not a new guy in these in this platform. He was even summoned by the parliament and such.
But it is unfair to label it all on one person, Brian.
But
Surely,
but I think one thing
this
that
thing catches
one thing,
everybody.
one thing Simba that I can agree that I can agree with the authority is that we need to deal with this privatization. This privatization needs to get from a few, the hands of a few, to the majority people who are suffering, the Kenyan, the suffering Kenyan masses.
Right.
Because we cannot talk about sugar. Who are buying this sugar? It's the Kenyans, the farmers, the peasants that are farming sugar in Mumias. They're farming sugar in Western Kenya. Those are the people that have to get to the cost of buying this sugar. Whereas they are farming it and then get processed by some companies that are exported away from them, and then it comes back to them as a product that they should buy. So these products are they come from the struggling masses of the Kenyan masses.
You've heard of Mumias sugar.
Yes, and the troubles that
You've heard of Cabra's sugar.
Capra sugar is
Owned by Rai.
right, yeah.
And then Mumias sugar struggling, but that one Rai is also
That's the
involved
contrast.
in. But truth be told, we have been here for a while, Brian. Sugar in Kenya touches almost any rich person.
Yeah.
I mean, there is politics in sugar. Someone told me I'm blind, but someone told me that you have a Cape Breton Communist Party.
Yeah, that's true.
Are you a member of that party?
Yeah, I remember the party.
You are
yeah.
not financed in any way. You are financed, I'm sure. So the thing is, Kenyan politics to some extent has been financed by sugar.
That's true.
Yeah. So we are talking of deep corruption here. Yeah. So isn't it unfair? You are a social justice person. You talk about justice. What's your opinion? Is it just on just one person? Seriously.
Simba.
Right.
It's not about Rai. It's about the exposition that in these industries, these industries that touch on us, these industries that touch on basic commodities, are owned and controlled by some few people that you can identify. Now we have identified Rai. Why is he now becoming a conversation? It should not be about Rai. In fact, it should be about the people that, you know, the farmers themselves, the peasants that are farming that sugar. You see. So at one point, I think the government is moving really to that direction. But one thing that we should also challenge it is, are they, is their intention doing away with Rai so that they can form another Rai?
Oh God.
Because we are still under, the same system of governance, and we have seen even the president declaring some threats upon these businessmen. But we are wondering who is most affected by these threats. Now all the people are
No,
coming.
he has said it's not a threat. He has said that is the truth.
Oh, he said it's the truth.
Yeah, it's not a threat. He said
Yeah.
it's the truth.
Yeah, I think he has a truth in himself that these businessmen are corrupting the operations of the government, of the state operations. But is this state operation the one that he is willing to create, going to help the Kenyan masses, as he's saying, hustler and Mama Mboga? The hustlers and Mama Mboga going to control how the prices of sugar, how the prices of sugar suggest. So that should be our question. I think right now it should be the role of the state to regulate this private this private sector in this position. But at the same time, we understand, we know that we all know about the history and the background of the president. So we are not very certain that he's going to implement these very tenets that he's propagating. Yeah.
You spoke about Takwel, and I laughed. How do you bring up Takwel at such a time? There was a time when Takwel Gorge hydroelectric power project was a big issue. The other day, stima ilipotea Kenya mzima. By the way, were you aware? Over 20 hours. There was a time when Kenya was to produce hydroelectric power from sand, from a seasonal river. And it was at a place called that Takwel. You mentioned it. What do you know about Takwel? You mentioned Takwel.
Well, yeah, we can speak about...
For many of us, when we hear the name Takwel, we think of corruption in many years gone.
Yeah, many years gone. Corruption has been there. It has been necessitated by the conditions that exist,
Right.
the gaps that are there within the within the governance system, the Kenyan governance governance system.
Yes.
And that is why you see a lot of the civil society organizations existing, because they need to keep check and balances. If a government is pure and it believes that it's pro people, then we should not have checks. We have checks because the government does not really believe in itself, and from the historical injustices we can tell, we can attest. So,
when you are talking of such kind of projects that bordered on corruption, is it possible that right now, what is happening, what we are seeing happening in the sugar industry, we are just about to experience the end of corruption in Kenya?
Sorry, the end of corruption in Kenya.
Yes. Are you seeing now a deliberate effort from the president to eliminate corruption? As a kijana in the justice, social justice area, in the civil society,
I think the president. What I can analyze from the current developments that have gone that we have gone through in the current in the present past.
yes,
Is the president is themselves an offspring of corruption.
come on, come on.
He has come from a system. He's inheriting a system of corruption. like two or three regimes of corruption. So in himself, he's built from that system of corruption. Right now, the last time I had him spoke, he said about some ministers being not loyal to their duties.
Okay.
Who appointed them? It was his influence. Right now, we can see the parliament. Right now we are now speaking about tyranny. And who has influence in parliament, who can pass this one and this one. Right now, the conversation about changing the katiba is on board.
Yeah.
Is on board. So who is driving these conversations at at his own whim, but at the expense of who? At the expense of people who are talking about the high cost of living, at the expense of the people who still have injuries of the electoral injustices, at
Okay.
so people who lost lives, people in Mathare who are sleeping hungry, people
Right.
in Mukuru who have been evicted from the former regime, and they don't have houses.
Right.
So yeah, that's the condition that we are facing now. And I
Okay.
think also, just to mention a little bit, is that that situation is reflected in majority of the parts in Africa. Right now, we
Okay.
can see uprisings, we can see demonstrations, we can see coups happening in
Okay.
different parts of West Africa.
Mm.
We can see attempts
Mm.
for revolts in various parts of Africa, including Sudan.
Right.
So we are in such situation.
Okay.
Yeah, including Kenya, that people are talking about the high cost of living. You remember in Tunisia a while ago,
Yeah.
when a person torched themselves up to
Mm.
demonstrate against the high cost of living.
Right.
Yeah, so it's the same situation that we have in Kenya, just that it has not been directed towards the right channel.
Definitely, one of the ways of dealing with the cost of living, I would imagine, is attracting investors, isn't it, into the country. Don't you think that this sugar turning bitter, dealing with one just one try, is going to affect the Asian community? Because these are silent billionaires. I mean, the Kenyan economy can't do. You can't speak of the rich in Kenya without speaking of the Asian community. So you mess up that community. You talk of deportation. Some of them may even run away. Don't you see that threat here? That dealing with the cost of living, probably we should ignore what do you call it? Sweating the small stuff, and focus on the big agenda, dealing with the cost of living. Are you seeing this as a threat? Surely. Where are you from?
First, let's not debate whether it's a threat or not,
Right.
because this is the president who has taken an oath of office. So every time he's speaking, whether it's in a public baraza, whether he's speaking to a small congregation of people,
Right.
that's the president of the country. So just coming up with that, you cannot just say that. There are certain there's certain rights, and that are you cannot just get them from a person.
Right.
They are inalienable. That you cannot just get them from a person, like the right to life.
Oh, okay.
So when the constitution still stands, the operational.
Yeah.
The president is guided by the same constitution that guides us. So
Okay.
there are certain rights that so we still have questions of concerning the remarks that he made the other day.
Okay.
But at the same time, we also understand that there is really an urgency to deal with this privatization, because this privatization belongs to a certain individuals that are knowable.
Yeah, I hear
So
you.
it's not about Rai. It's not about Rai. And when the people take the mantle, it will not be about Rai like Ruto is trying to project it. It will be about all these people who own, these private sectors that affect the farmers, affect the peasants, and affect the working class.
But then when you say that, do you know that half of the sugar industry in Kenya is owned by that one man?
Yeah, and that's the problem. Why is Ruto not arresting him? If it will be another thug that is, just operating within our street here.
Yeah, but then could it be possible that the power went so that he be arrested?
I don't know about the power, but
That's
there
a
is-
question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but according to the Kenyan state, the way that the Kenyan state operates now,
Yes.
I was, very elated to learn, about from the conversations from the youth here and there and there.
Yes. Yes. I
Because they
hear
are
it
asking
from
about
you.
the power, and the power
Why
just
did
went.
they-
Was
yes, yes.
was it deliberate? Was it an attempt?
No,
to-
they said there was a problem in Turkana. So there was a problem in Turkana.
Yes, and the other day,
Yes.
the CS for
Energy.
was very fast.
Yes.
Yeah, to get a statement. Another time, the CS for transport was very hasty to even kick out some people from
Kenya
office.
airports. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You see, where are the people in all this conversation?
Yes.
Where are the people? It should be central.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now, there are there are myriads of things that we still that are still in
But there were rumors. There were rumors of what happened, and we can't talk about rumors much here because I also want facts from you. But really, it's your opinion, and I respect your opinion. Already, you've spoken about, okay. What exactly? Let me not put it on your mouth. If you bring us your theories on what exactly happened, what you're hearing, you've spoken of rumors, quote unquote, but since it's your opinion, I'm allowing you to just bring us the different thoughts about what happened to power. What are the youth saying out there? Are they saying it was out of the foreign attack? Is there someone saying that someone stole the power? What's happened? What are the youth saying out there?
I mean, the youth, the youth come from different dynamic, and you can
You come
understand
from
it.
Githurai,
I
right?
come from Githurai, and
Yes, and Wavinya was here. Wavinya comes from Madari.
yes,
And Mino comes from Kwanjenga.
Yes.
And I had one Maureen also from Kwanjenga. These are people from the ground. Yeah, so come on, tell me, what are they saying about what had happened to power? Let me hear from you.
I mean, the question about power. I mean, I can represent their voice, but let me start by first giving my opinion.
Yes.
That it's absurd that the rest of the country is in blackout. That that the rest of the country, with all these hydroelectric projects
Yes.
that are being financed by the government, the country is falling up.
Apart.
The country is falling
20, it
apart.
was over 20 hours.
20 hours. The
Yeah,
airport
without
itself
power.
does not have light. It should really project the kind of state that the Kenyan state projects.
Right.
That it's a failure. It's a failed system. It's
Right.
a failure of state institutions. That just a normal just a normal a generator is not existing at the national airport. In fact, it's an international airport. So there are these things that we should really address.
Oh, so there's that talk also of a missing generator at the airport.
Yeah, some
Probably
missing
that's why
generators in
someone
the
was
airport.
sacked there.
Yeah, probably, but but at this point we can really tell that what kind of politics transpire in Kenya.
Okay.
That there are two groups trying to outwit each other, and at this point it gets to a point that the people have to get to their own side, because now the rich are fighting against each other.
Okay.
And I think
Yeah.
that's what is transpiring currently.
Mm.
Even with the destabilization of the economy.
Mm.
So it's the poor that are at the mercies of
The
those who are
rich.
ruling them.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's really serious. It's
Yeah.
not sad, but very.
You see,
Very-
the issue is the president says these people who have cases against Mumias withdraw. They withdraw the cases, or they'll be put in jail, deported, or sent to a trip to heaven. One company has already responded by withdrawing the case against Mumia's sugar company. You are just pointing out that this is a war between the rich. Maybe there are many people fighting each other over these sugar companies. But really, if you give people money, don't you have a right to be paid?
What do you mean giving people money?
Now, if these people have cases against Mumias and they are being told to withdraw, we don't know the nature of the cases in there. Is it really fair? Because I'm seeing you with a social justice cap. Yeah. Why should you withdraw cases? Maybe it deals with your finances and stuff like that.
Yeah, but who are these people who have cases against Mumias?
One has already withdrawn a case.
One of them.
Yeah, just what tried obviously is one of the many that are in there.
Yes, but there are many cases that there's a primary need. There's an emergent. There's an emergent task for the government to
Right.
first address than addressing the cases first, because there are many cases that have not been projected to court from these farmers themselves.
Okay.
These farmers that are farming the sugarcane.
Right.
The sugarcane farmers. Themselves is that should be the biggest case, that they are not receiving the right the fair compensation for their produce,
Right.
which is the sugar itself.
Right.
So, and there have been also a laxity from the government
Right.
since time immemorial, from since we transited from colonialism
Yeah.
to self-governance. And now from colonialism to self-governance, these companies, most of them were amalgamated. They transitioned to the state that we inherited.
Yeah.
But after also inheriting the state, there are these institutions that we inherited with the same structures from the colonial era,
Yes.
and we inherited even the structures. And then from that point, from point to point, we have you have seen the trends of
Privatization.
privatizing these companies.
Right.
These companies that were state owned a while
Right.
ago. It's not to say that they performed very well when they were owned by the state, but it's also not to say that they perform well now that they are owned by the private. In fact, they perform even poorly
Okay.
once they are privatized.
Interesting. I enjoy listening to the mind of the youth. I really enjoy, and that's why hapa kwa Chapa Siasa, here on Politics Today, we keep bringing the youth just to hear, because you never know who is watching you right now.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you don't know who's watching you. It is said in this country, you are not rich until you've touched sugar. You may not know that. But you are not rich until you touch sugar. Around the elections in this country, Brian, there is always sugar scandal. Maybe you know it. Around the election time, there would always be sugar manenos. Last year, was there mercury issues I heard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 3 years ago.
Mercury stories were 3 years ago. Okay. Around 1992, that's when I first heard the sugar stories. And there was this story about Kismayu and sugar being brought through Kismayu areas into the country. I heard those stories. It's interesting that sugar in Kenya is part and parcel of corruption. What are you doing as the youth to deal with corruption?
Well, I mean, corruption is a broad issue and is a systematic issue. So, the most effective method that the youth should adopt, especially in such times, is to deal with the arrogance. So the youth currently in this age, that we call, the age of transformation, the age that information is everywhere.
Right.
I think
right,
the youth
absolutely.
should, get organized, because there is already a room for this information.
Yes.
So they should get organized from a point of that information.
I want to hear more of that when we come back from the break, because you are a big group of youths. You must be doing something to deal about corruption in this country now and in the future. Viewers, hapa tunachapa siasa. This is Politics Today. The sugar in Kenya, wow, turning bitter. See you after the break.